Hey guys, Max here from slurv.com to bring you the GPP knowledge for the slate of May 11th. Let's talk about yesterday. The pitching kind of let us down. Had a couple of Red Sox stacks with Conley, and really the only pitcher that I was on that did well yesterday was Adam Morgan. So actually, that's how bad the Braves are, is that they can get shut down by guys like Adam Morgan. Today we have a split slate, 7 games in the morning and 9 in the evening. So let's talk about the early games first and jump right in. Let's see, the early pitching options, I think we have plenty. So let's start with Madison Bumgarner facing the Blue Jays. He's priced up in the upper 12K range today. I think some pros for him today are that he's pitching at home, where he's normally terrific, and his strikeout rate is up this year over last year by a good margin. However, his walk and hard contact rates are also both up, and he's facing the Blue Jays that normally mash lefties. I expect Mad Bum to be the Kluber of a couple days ago and kind of be low owned, where people jump down to the lower priced options to fit in the Coors Field bats. I think he's a fine option if his ownership is going to be low today. Next up, we have Danny Salazar, whose price has dramatically gone up since he dominated Kansas City in his last start. Today, he's a high-risk, high-reward option, I think. I don't know what will be fresher in people's minds, Kluber getting destroyed by the Astros or Bauer getting dominating the Astros yesterday. I'm going to say the latter probably wins, and Salazar will be somewhat popular, but not extremely so. In looking into his advanced stats, I noticed he currently has allowed a BABIP of just 200, which is somewhat backed up by the fact that his hard hit rate is only 22%, which is extremely low. I do expect his BABIP to go up to somewhere around the 300 level, which is where he has been for most of his career. So let's expect more of that contact to fall in. Salazar also rates highly in my model, so I think I'm going to roster him pretty liberally today. Next up, we have Chris Archer facing a scorching Seattle offense. Really have no idea what I'm going to do with this guy today. On one hand, we have a big ballpark, and the fact that Archer's advanced stats show that he's been rather decent, but the only scary things here are the fact that his hard contract rate has gone up to 41%, and his walk rate is at a career high at 10%, which is scary against the Seattle offense that is very patient and has been mashing the ball against pretty much anyone. I don't think I'm interested here. I think I'm just going to pass and move down to the 2 lower options that I expect to be highly owned today. Those options are Walker and Hendricks. Let's start with Walker. His advanced stats back up his awesome performance so far this year. His K rate of 22% is in line with his career averages, and he has brought his walk rate down to minimal 2%, which is just incredible. I think even with high ownership, he's my favorite pitcher of the early slate against a Tampa offense that does not really do that well against right-handers. I think Hendricks is going to be by far and away the most popular pitcher facing the Padres offense that is awful against righties. Only problem here is that, as I always mention, his upside is limited by the fact that his manager likes to yank him early, and he has not pitched past the 6th inning so far this year. His advanced stats are in line with his career stats, so I don't see any concern there. But if he's like 50% owned, I'm going to fade him due to ownership, and I hope he gets yanked after 4 innings and doesn't strike out too many guys or something. As far as the low-end range guys, I really just don't see that anybody we can roster confidently and save money. I'm going to talk about the guy at Coors Field today that I think could be an option if you want to save, but I don't think they're necessary at all. The early stacks today are Cubbies. Let's start with the Cubs. They're usually low-owned, and they've been on fire lately. Colin Ray has been serviceable, but is by no means any good. Let's roster some Cubs lefties today and see if they can continue their success. In Minnesota, I expect a shootout today. Both pitchers have been awful. I don't know if Minnesota is currently stackable the way they are, the way their lineup is structured, but I do like Park and Nunez. They're rated very highly in my model due to their recent advanced stats success. On the other side, we have Machado, Jones are some of the top plays from my model, but I think you can stack up the Orioles against Hughes. Matt Latos is not good at pitching, and his results are super fluky so far this year. They're not backed up by advanced statistics. Target Texas liberally, and I think they're my favorite stack of the early slate with Odora and Mazzaro coming up as my favorite plays in that stack. My sneaky stack today, I think, is Cleveland. I have no idea if they will crush Fister, but they certainly should. The top of the order lefties are all very good hitters, and they should crush Fister as lefties usually do really well against him. Um, I doubt anybody's going to be on Cleveland today, but I think in Houston they're a very, very nice under the radar stack. Last but not least, let's talk about Coors Field. Bettis has actually shown some pretty good numbers at Coors with an xFIP of 3.35 through 2 starts this year. Last year's xFIP at home was a similarly good 3.57. I think Zona is a good fade candidate today. Excuse me. He's actually someone you can consider rostering, I think, to save salary. I literally expect no one to be on him. If you don't want to stack against him, if you do want to stack against him, I'm sorry. Just remember that Bettis is a reverse splits guy, so target him with right-handers. Robbie Ray, on the other hand, is someone I do want to target today. Colorado Woba against lefties has been stellar, and they have been shut down the last 2 days, so I expect their ownership to be down today after screwing people the last couple days with really high ownership. So here, Rayburn and Reynolds have been awesome against lefties this year, and they're pretty cheap and carry a lead upside. You can also stack them up with guys like Arenado and Story that are normally fantastic against left-handed pitching. Let's jump to the pitching in the late slate. Will I roster Scherzer today is the question for me in the late slate, and the answer is I'm not sure. He's been so up and down this year, but looking at his advanced stats, it's pretty scary. His K rate is down 5%, and his walk rate is up 5%. My model loves him for whatever reason. I'm not sure if I'm going to go there today, but just remember it is a revenge game for him, facing his old team in Detroit. Noah Syndergaard let everybody down last week when he was super highly owned, facing the Padres on the road. Twitter went crazy, and apparently his pitch selection was baffling here. He threw way too many fastballs as the Padres swung and missed at the slider, but were making contact against the fastball. He had his new catcher in Rene Rivera last start, so hopefully Plawecki will be in here, and as he's had much better success with Noah this year. I really do like Noah here against a Dodgers lineup that lacks punch, but I do expect him to be very popular. John Lackey gets a bump to 11K with his date against the Padres in the night split doubleheader, nightcap of the split doubleheader. I'm sorry. The Padres get shut down by right-hand pitching, so that's why he got the bump to 11K range. Hopefully, people will jump off of him at this high price, but I think he's super safe here with some strikeout upside. I think Maeda is actually the real deal as he's shown against the Blue Jays in his last start. The Mets have a ton of nice left-handed power, but I do like him as a low-owned option at home today. I talked about Nicasio yesterday, and all the things I said remain in play. He's got a lead upside here against Cincinnati, but he can also get crushed. So he's a high-risk, high-reward option at 6K, which is very, very cheap. Last but not least, I love any pitcher that's facing Atlanta this year, and Ikov is no different. I think he has some good upside today. And we can target, like I said, anybody, as is evidenced by Morgan's gem against them yesterday. So let's segue into some stacks in the nightcap. We'll begin in New York City for the third day in a row. Yankees offense is waking up, and at home that means a lot of home runs. They're my favorite stack today due to the fact that they're facing Ventura, who is just not very good this year. He has the highest walk rate in the majors, and I expect Yankees to draw a lot of walks and hit some bombs against him. So stack him up in New York here. The Red Sox have been awesome the last couple days, and today they get Surkamp, which is just a dream matchup for them. I think they're going to be extremely popular with no Coors Field, so maybe we can target the lesser-owned bats, lefty on lefty matchups with Ortiz, Shaw, and Jackie Bradley. I expect Surkamp to last like 3 or 4 innings, so I think they will have some good upside and hopefully reduced ownership. Um, I no longer want to target any left-handed pitchers against Milwaukee, so I'm actually going to do the reverse here and target Milwaukee bats against Miami. So here, I think there is a lead upside with the way they've been stealing bases at the top of the order with Villar. So let's stack up the top of the order here. Um, Braun is amazing, and LaCroix hits lefties really well. Carter hits lefties really well. Aaron Hill, same thing. So I think there's no reason to fade Milwaukee here. I also don't expect them to be that popular. Miami is really favored by Vegas today. They're projected at a slate high 5 runs. I don't know. I don't know if there's a stacking option here in Miami, but I do like to target single bats here. I think Dietrich will again be popular against Anderson. Um, this might be a fade due to ownership here, but we'll see as the slate plays out. Pirates make for an awesome stack. Again, I said this yesterday against Alfredo Simon. He didn't implode last start, but congrats to him. I think he's a blow up candidate in every start, and Pirates will be a stack that I will have in the nightcap. My under the radar stack today are the Cardinals. Shoemaker may be good at some point in his career, but he's just not elite right now. And I love Cardinals hitter upside here at reduced ownership. Um, I think that's about it, guys. I know I may be rushed through this, but we did have a lot to cover, and I didn't want this to go too long. So anyway, I will be in the Slurf chat room all day today for both slates. So hit me up there with any questions or on Twitter at DFSMax. And may the baseball gods look favorably upon you today. Make some money. Take it easy later.